Hi, Daniel Villarreal here with Queerty.com's continuing coverage of the South by Southwest Film Festival. I'm speaking with the director of Strange Powers, Stephin Merritt and the Magnetic Fields, Kerthy. Thanks for talking to us, Kerthy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'm curious how doing a biopic on Stephin fits into some of your other work. Like, I know that you helped co-write a script about Christine Jorgensen, 1950s transsexual figure, and that you are also currently doing a documentary on La Tigre, which has lesbian and kind of androgynous frontwoman J.D. Sampson. And so I'm wondering how the Magnetic Field and Stephin Merritt fit into that.
I personally have an interest in people who are pushing the boundaries around sexuality and gender. I think they are the true, especially in our day and age, you know, trans people, that is the most fundamental thing you have to know about a person right away. I have to know whether you're male or female. And so trans people, by exploring that space, they're real cultural rebels, and I find that really interesting. Now, Stephin's in a totally different space. He's not a trans person, but his his interest in camp and artifice and the way he fucks with gender, like having a man sing a woman's part and a woman sing a man's part, and having, a queer love duet, or he's really playful with that. And I think that's, I think it's kind of magical.
You're an independent filmmaker this is your first full-length documentary?
It's the first one I've ever directed.
Okay.
I've produced other films for other people. Yeah.
Well, I guess what I'm wondering is your own experience then, as someone who, do you feel a lot of kind of gender inequity or a lot of sort of pressure or influence because of that?
Oh, I think as a woman, working in film, it's a super sexist industry. Like, why is it that the first director to get an Oscar as a woman is this year? Like, it's because as a woman you can't get financing for films. It's just a fact. I think African Americans, people of color, have a really hard time getting film financing. Women are harder to market to.
Really?
Yes, and there's actually a study. They're harder to market to because they're more choosy. Huh. The fanboy, 13-year-old to 25-year-old is easier to get your blockbuster dollars out in the first weekend.
Right.
But women read reviews. We listen to, what other people think of the movie. So we're harder to penetrate with a crappier product.
Right.
If that, excuse the pun.
I tend to think of it in terms of risk, and that there's this big perception that for some reason putting your name on a very robust kind of LGBT or people of color or a feminist film carries with it some sort of potential shame or risk of you did it wrong, or that's not what we want to see. And it makes me wonder if it's because people just flat out consider it a financial risk, or if it's because it's a sort of old boys club mentality of we don't need to let them women and queers wreck stuff because who wants that?
I really do think we're in. I think it comes down to the film financiers are white straight men.
Yeah.
In America, anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously they see the opportunities in foreign markets.
Sure.
It's really expensive. Like a big budget film, they spend, I think, $30 million on the marketing. That's like billboards, advertisement. That's like we have a system and we just plug into that system. It's not like some small company that's going to lovingly sort of handcraft the marketing and distribution of your, queer feature and find that, we know those people go to the movies, right?
Right.
We know they're in Portland, Oregon. We know they're in Vancouver. We know they're in the South. The South gets totally ignored.
Right.
And yet, those are the marketplaces where people are most interested in seeing, but it's there's a much more effort involved, and so it's really those people at the top who are financing films aren't interested in the labor of love.
Right.
So we have to make, I think it comes down to, a festival like Outfest in LA, I think does a really good job of sort of taking that philosophy of like, let's sort of ignore the haters and let's combine our resources as professionals and have, like, they always do events at their festival that like puts like filmmakers in touch with movers and shakers in the community, in the profession, and they have a really great script lab, which the Christine Jorgensen script, the script we wrote, went through.
Okay.
And it was. I think we have to build our institutions, right? Our feminist and our queer institutions, our people of color institutions that build that.
I think that's all the questions I really
Okay.
have. But I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right on. Okay. Daniel Villarreal at Queerty.com, continuing coverage of the South by Southwest Film Festival, here with Kerthy from Strange Powers, Stephin Merritt, and the Magnetic Fields. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.